This is To Market, the podcast that teaches you how to market. Yeah. And now, this is your host, the Professor, Scott Davis.
How do you drive engagement across social media platforms? This episode's guest is a social media strategist, and he's head of household for the marketing family on Facebook. Welcome, Staffo Tienpoen. Staffo, thank you so much for being here. I always love talking to you, and I'm so glad that I get to do it now in this interview format. You are BHP, the buff Harry Potter. I think that most people who follow me on LinkedIn are already going to be familiar with you, but I feel like based on what we talked about before the recording that we're going to break some new ground here. So first, I just want to say thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. This is an honor. I'm excited.
Very good. And you are the first person on LinkedIn that I'm really engaging with on a different platform as well. So yeah. I'm part of your the Marketing Family Facebook group, and we're having a lot of fun over there. I teach integrated marketing programs, so it's kind of weird for me that in this LinkedIn community, everyone sticks to LinkedIn really tightly. So could you talk a little bit about what you're doing and maybe segue it into how you're bringing all these different platforms together?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting question. So in general, what I'm doing is I do social media strategy for people. I make sure people know which direction they're supposed to take their social media as like an integrated approach as well. But then specifically what I think you're asking me about is how I integrate everything. And what I think people are missing a lot of the time is that you are on rented media, right? So you are LinkedIn, you don't own it. Facebook, you don't own it. ManyChat, you don't own it. But at the same time, nobody is opening your emails. So what do? I diversify my assets. If somebody connects with me on LinkedIn, I will try to get them in my Facebook group. If somebody's in my Facebook group, I will try to get them in my ManyChat bot. If somebody's in my ManyChat bot, I will probably also try to get them on Instagram. Because every single piece of this is very risky. LinkedIn could kill their algorithm tomorrow. A lot of people are going to have nothing. Facebook could kill Facebook groups tomorrow. A lot of people are going to have nothing. I don't have my email list, so I'm still playing a risky game. But at least if there's a gap of 1 or 2 months in between them, I will always have time to jump around. So on my LinkedIn profile, I link to my Facebook group, but in between those two touch points, they have to grow to my chatbot. And every time I'm creating more and more links. And it's also really powerful because you create more touch points with people, like maybe someday a person is only hanging out on Facebook. And if you're writing viral LinkedIn posts, that's super awesome for you. If that person was only on Facebook, they haven't seen your beautiful face, That's why I'm trying to be everywhere at once and bouncing people.
Okay, that makes sense to me because as a marketer, we talk about things like share of wallet, share of mind, share of heart, and you're right, you're kind of omnipresent. So I'll get a message that says, Staffo commented on your LinkedIn post. He, added a new post to the Marketing Family Facebook group. He liked your Instagram post, and he sent you an email about this webinar that he's putting on. So you have my attention across at least 4 different platforms now, and now you're on the podcast too. So it's really interesting how you've kind of integrated these things. But, for me, as someone who's kind of trying to break into these different territories, I have to ask, isn't this like a big pain in the butt for you? Isn't it really time consuming?
Yes. that's kind of like the answer. But I think there's ways around it. Like, first of all, if you can have somebody to transform your content from one media type to another media type, that's going to save you a lot of time and money. Another thing is a video is going to be like you pick your platforms, right? Like I'm picking Facebook and LinkedIn as my main platforms, and probably YouTube is going to be my third. Why? Because first of all, I have the videography skills from kind of like my previous life, but also all of these platforms favor video over any other kind of content. Then you can have somebody to transform your video into text, and you just read through it afterwards, and you make sure that it's feels right. And also, if you have already put your thoughts into a structure for a video, it's very easy to write a description afterwards. So you find your main thing and you use it to create other content. I call it trickle down content, because you have one really big piece or one powerful piece, and then you just see what else can you do with it.
Okay.
But this is super time consuming.
Right.
It's true.
That does make sense to me. And since I have you trapped here on my podcast, I'm going to try to get some free consulting out of you. So the way the way my presence is working now, I've built up a pretty good audience on LinkedIn, and I'm getting a lot of engagement there, partly thanks to all the things that you teach us as part of that Marketing Family Facebook group. But I still am terrible on Facebook in terms of trying to spread the word about my videos and my podcasts and things like that. So when you're pretty good on one platform, but you're starting from zero on another platform, I find it's really hard to get people to join my group, for example, on Facebook. How do you do that kind of initial wave of customer acquisition? In my case, they're not really customers, but just group member acquisition. Do you have any strategy tips there?
Yeah. So let me just start out with something very specific for you, because I do pay attention. On your profile, you have like the cover picture, which mentions your podcast, but when you click it, there's no link in the description. So if you put a link in the description there, that's going to bounce some people away from your Facebook profile onto your website. Also on your profile, you do have the option to add some links. That's just like some very specific advice for you.
Right.
Now, the main way to use one platform to grow another platform is to give something away on the platform where you want it to be. Like if you're already big on LinkedIn, and then you figure something out that people want, and you make it like a thing, it becomes a package. It is an ebook. It doesn't need to be more than a LinkedIn article, but it's like a thing now. Like it's an ebook. And where is this magical ebook? Well, it's over there in your Facebook. Oh, we're gonna do an interview, and this time it's with your boy Buff Harry Potter. Oh, too bad, guys. This one is only in the Facebook group, right? So it's kind of like you figure out what these people want, and then you go hide it. It's kind of like Easter, like the children should probably have some more exercise. How are you gonna get them the exercise? They just want to be on their phone, So what are you gonna do? You're gonna hide some eggs in there, so they have to run and go get it.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I was even thinking about, I'm probably not popular enough yet to do this, but I was thinking that
that's not true.
If I did a live show on Facebook Live, that I could drive some people from LinkedIn to go, hey, watch this at noon every Tuesday or whatever. Actually, I think that's when Gary Vaynerchuk does his show, so I'll pick a different time. But, when I, have some live marketing show where I field questions and things like that. But what you said before that probably makes more sense for me right now. If I have an ebook on a specific topic, or I have a webinar or something like that, but forcing that traffic to engage with me somewhere else is a really cool idea that I'm frankly kind of embarrassed that I haven't been thinking about that, because right now I'm duplicating content. I'm just taking.
That does work.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, because nobody has any incentive to connect with you somewhere else. So I think that makes perfect sense. And Instagram, as you'd notice, I'm doing a completely different track, just kind of experimenting with.
I like it.
With this diet that I'm doing. And I think that, and I'm really early, what I'm doing is I'm doing 12 different diets in 12 months, which is kind of gimmicky, but there's actually a lot of thought I've put into this from a psychological perspective. So I think as I end Whole30 and move into the next diet, that'll be an opportunity for me to generate buzz about what I'm doing. So I'm going to try to do that again, kind of direct some traffic to Instagram through that. And it's fun too. And I think that makes a difference, because we talked about how time consuming all this is. Mm-hmm. If it's not fun for you, then you'll just burn out and then stick to the platform you care about.
Mm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And so one other thing that I want to talk about with you is that, so when I joined your Facebook, the Marketing Family group, I was really excited because you have all these cool tips about how to do things on LinkedIn. But what really caught my attention was that, like, a day after I joined the group, or maybe even right when I joined the group, I got this Facebook Messenger, connection from you. And it was like this very sophisticated chatbot that sent me gifts and, asked me questions, and I had to answer the question and move on. It was kind of like a choose your own adventure book from the 80s and 90s. But one thing that stood out was that, I've interacted with bots a lot in technical support and working with brand bots, and they're usually, frankly, pretty terrible. But yours was more engaging, more entertaining than most real people that I interact with. So I just want to ask you, like, how do you even get started in doing that, and how do you make it so that they perform at a high level?
Yeah, I'm just gonna be like 100% honest with you. A lot of this comes from me talking a lot of shit on the internet. Like I'm just always, me and my friends are always messing around on chat. Like we got this big group chat where we're just talking shit to each other all the time, like messing with each other, sending gifts, like making fun of each other. And I kind of like wanted to, and I was interacting with all these different chatbots. And like I know some of these people, and I know like some of these people, like one person who really does a really good chatbot now, or starting to do one now, is Charlie Price from Traffic and Copy, and I was like I chat with him often, and he sends me like really funny memes, and he sends me like whatever, right? And I enjoy chatting with him so much, like all the time. I want to be like I'm really happy when he sends me a message, but then I'm getting like these chatbots. And I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna open this. And by the time I decide to open it, they've already sent me like 6 more messages, and I've totally lost the initial point. And I'm just like every time. And then I'm like thinking like, okay, why am I enjoying talking with this person so much? Why am I not enjoying talking with this person so much? And I'm just like, it's the memes. Like there's no value in the platform itself. Like there's no value in the message itself. It doesn't matter if your message is pointing to some really yummy content somewhere else. That doesn't matter if the message itself is boring, So there needs to be like a constant supply of value, because there's just too much distraction. The message itself needs to have the value, and I only got it from talking with my friends a lot and just seeing who I like to reply to and who doesn't. Everybody who's like making some buzz on LinkedIn, they will have 10 people a day writing them, hey, how are you? I've never replied to a single one of these people. Just like, I can't.
So now, and that brings up another. So one thing, you're making the chatbots fun. So I receive a message from you, and even if I know it's from the chatbot, I'm like digging in and just trying to see, what memes and GIFs you end up, producing as I work through this series. So you saw that LinkedIn now has introduced GIFs in their messaging system. So what? Yeah, I think today they introduced GIFs. So I was thinking it's time for you to make a funny, sophisticated LinkedIn chatbot if you're not already doing it.
Yeah, well, I'll do that. Well, actually, it's gonna be a person though. Like it's gonna be a person on LinkedIn for now. Like I don't want to get shadow. Like I don't want to get shadow banned on LinkedIn and have nobody see my content. That would be horrible. But actually, it's really funny that you mentioned this, that they happened today, because I haven't logged into LinkedIn except for writing to you, because I'm just like on Instagram, I have like thousands of followers that have never engaged, and I'm just blocking thousands of people in like one go. So that's what I've been busy with. So I haven't logged into LinkedIn today. But yeah, that's good. That's a great opportunity. Like my friend Sonny, he told me once, the day they introduce GIFs on Tinder, I'm gonna go on dates every day. And it hasn't happened so far. But making the conversation entertaining is always an extremely strong gateway into bringing people to the next step of your funnel, getting them to care a little bit more, activating them to be an active part of your community.
Yes. And so is there, for a regular non-technical person, is there any entry point into automation or chatbots, or do we all have to work through a consultant like you to make that happen? Maybe I've biased your answer.
Well, okay. So first of all, so right now they've closed down the API, so you cannot start your new chatbot like right today, just like 12th of April when we're recording this. But there are very user-friendly systems such as ManyChat or Chatfuel, and there's even some more sophisticated ones than those. And you can definitely learn this yourself by practicing a lot. But I'm also going to put a little bit of a disclaimer. If you want to do this yourself, you should be prepared to spend a good, I would say, 500 hours learning this. at least, because like it's very simple, but it's so easy to mess up. Because it's just like, oh man, I made so many mistakes when I was like doing this LinkedIn course, and I was already running my bot for almost a year. And it like if you're in a hurry, you're making mistakes. Like you said, sometimes like I sent 750 people the wrong message. That's not good. And it's like, because I have this like conversational brand where people are like, okay, yeah, that's Staffo is doing his thing, whatever, he's trying something. For me, it's no problem. If you're like if you're like a more strict, more like a more stiff brand, so to say, or like a more like official brand, that's gonna give you problems. So if you want to do it yourself, I would start with ManyChat because it's a very easy platform. I would take a lot of time to practicing it and just put some of your friends into the bot first and just ask for feedback all the time. And then I would just really also think about how you're going to make it entertaining. Those would be my 3 main tips. But if I would strongly consider getting somebody else to do it, just because it's so easy to mess up, and the learning curve can be pretty steep, in my opinion, once you want to do something a little bit more advanced.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And that there's a risk too, when you're putting that much time into learning it. I think that, isn't that where Buff Harry Potter came from? Somebody was mad that you were using a chatbot to communicate or something like that?
No. But I will tell you the real story. So I was at Tomorrowland, like with my girlfriend, and like I have like my shirt off because it's like warm, because I'm from Belgium and Tomorrowland's in Belgium, right? Or at least the real one. And I'm like dancing, like going to the crowd, and there's some really nice music or whatever. I was enjoying the music, and some Australian guy. I don't have an Australian accent, so I'm not even going to. But hey, mate, you're like a buff Harry Potter. Like what? It's like you're like a buff Harry Potter. And I'm like look at him for like 1 second, and I'm like, am I gonna be insulted? And I was like, man, Harry Potter is like pretty nice. Like he saved the world, and it's pretty rich. Like this is a pretty good nickname. I'm like, thank you, man. That's awesome. that's where it came from. So I just started saying it to myself and in my videos and stuff. And then when I met Gilles de Klerk, you're probably familiar with him. He's like one of my all-time favorite growth hackers. When I met him, he introduced me to his roommates. Hey, look, this guy is Buff Harry Potter. I was like, okay, if it's gonna stick with a person of this caliber, it's there's something to it. So I just like rolled with it. I think everybody. And just like to take this a little like a step further to make this like a practical advice, like a lot of people they think it's gonna be like this about the personal brand, right? They think they're gonna sit in a dark room, they're gonna have like a notepad, and it's gonna have like moleskin, and they're gonna have like a feather, and they're gonna be like have like this super deep meditation and write down like, oh, these are my values, and this is what I do, and this is what I stand for, and I should be known for this. But honestly, those things they never work. They don't stick. But like your friends, if they're making fun of you for something, it means it's gonna stick. It means that there's actually something to it. Use that to your advantage because you already know it sticks. There's no reason to like torture yourself, like trying to come up with this stuff from out of nowhere.
That's right. And it helps too, because, and obviously it's stuck with me because I call you Buff Harry Potter all the time. And I even like put a lightning bolt on your forehead in one of your pictures, but it's kind of like these brand visuals, which is what I talked about in my last podcast with String Win. So you're scrolling the feed and I'm like, oh, Buff Harry Potter, like Staffo with the round glass frames is in the feed. So that's kind of a cue for me to stop and pay attention to what you're doing, where if you just kind of looked like everybody else, then maybe I wouldn't be motivated to stop and check it out. So I think I'm gonna ask my LinkedIn friends at some point what I should do, because I'm losing weight now, so I'm gonna lose like my differentiating physical characteristic. I hope. So I need to like dye my hair pink or something to stand out in the LinkedIn feed.
But also, like something that's like a little bit underestimated is that it's also an audio cue. Like I anchor it, kind of like an NLP thing. Hey, I'm Buff Harry Potter. Hey, I'm Staffo, aka Buff Harry Potter, coming at you live, pre-recorded. Like coming at you live. That's like an audio anchor. Like something like so. Me and Sonny, we like live in the same place and we work here. And sometimes it's like walking around and it's like, hey, what's up? It's your boy Staffo, aka Buff Harry Potter, coming at you live. And he's just like mumbling to himself because it's like such a strong audio anchor. And the other people have told me that they're like showering, and then all of a sudden they like hear my voice. Hey, what's up? It's your boy Staffo, aka Buff Harry Potter, coming at you live, and it's like an audio anchor. And because if you look at me, I actually don't look that much like Harry Potter. I look like 75% Harry Potter, but the audio anchor is very powerful as well.
Yes.
That's also why video is so powerful. It gets
Yeah.
a complete picture except for like smell, which is probably a good thing.
Right. And it's kind of like you said with the meditation and writing things down in your notebook, there's only so far you can get with content alone. You need some kind of hook that keeps bringing people back, because I've had a lot of people, they'll watch one of my marketing videos and they really enjoy the content, but then I'll never see them again. So it's like, oh, I missed an opportunity here in some way to make them a fan or make them someone who's going to keep coming back to this content. So kind of adding in those little hooks and calls to action and things like that, something we need to be mindful of all the time.
I think I like call to action is like also a word I use. Like it's not even a word, it's a couple of words. But the way I think about it, like in my mind, is I want people to interact with me for real one time. That's like I need like one shot. Like I would need somebody to comment on my video one time. I need somebody to introduce themselves in my Facebook group. I need somebody to open one messenger on ManyChat. And I just believe that if whatever touch point they have there is like a very distilled, pure version of my personality, then either they're gonna really like it, and that means we're a good fit, like in some sort of relationship, or they're really gonna hate me, and then I want them to like get lost, you know. So it's like a call to action is one way to look at it, but the way I think about it is like you need to have like one interaction. Like a real interaction, not like a scroll, not like a like, but somebody commenting you, reaching out to you, like actually listening through. You know, that is what we're going for, in my opinion.
That's a good point, because I think that a lot of the first interactions we have with people on these social platforms is artificial, or it's not part of a cohesive story. And I know that you think a lot about storytelling, and it's like the first time you reach out to me, it's this canned sales pitch, but then I talk to you and you're really fun and interesting, or vice versa. You send me like this really kind of, fun, pitch, and then I talk to you and it's all like, I don't have time, that kind of thing. So weaving a consistent story across networks and just throughout your lifetime of interaction with somebody is really important, but also hard to do, especially if you're trying to automate some of those things or use canned responses. So I think it's really cool that you think about things like that. And I think that's really what differentiates your automation from a lot of other people that I've seen. You also mentioned to me that you're trying to do more automation on Instagram, and I'm also not good on Instagram, so I have no idea what that would even look like. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Yeah. Okay. So first disclaimer. So I had so back in the day when I was even more inexperienced marketer, somebody was like, "Hey, Staffo, can you take some pictures of me?" Because I thought I'd convinced everybody I was like a professional photographer. That was really funny. But I took some good pictures, so whatever. But then this guy, so I'm not gonna go through the whole story, but basically he didn't want to pay for everything, so he's like, "I'm gonna do some Instagram automation for you." I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. So he starts like doing follow my accounts, and he starts doing some, I don't know what, like something. And what happened is I got like 8,500 followers, and almost none of them had actually ever engaged with my accounts. Like, of course, my original followers they had, and then there was, so I actually did the math. There's 3,000 unique accounts, or almost 4,000 unique accounts who have ever engaged with my post on Instagram. But those are not the people in my followers list. So the engagers, they came from somewhere else than the followers. So that is just somebody like drastically inflating my numbers, trying to stroke my ego, which have left me with an absolutely killed account. So then I promised I would never do Instagram automation again. Now you're going to hear it here first. I have started doing some automation again, but I'm doing it myself. And I'm only doing it in a way that I think is going to create a positive interaction with me. Right. So what's up with Instagram automation? So there's a lot of people who do so there's a couple of tools that allow you to do a lot of things. So Mask Planner supposedly doesn't exist anymore, and now instead you have a tool called Jarvee, Jarvee. This tool allows you to do crazy amounts of things on Instagram. It allows you to follow people on a very, very targeted basis. So people who interact with certain accounts, people, followers of this person, people in a certain location, even people from a certain gender. Then you can unfollow them if you want to, or only unfollow the people who don't follow you back. I personally don't do follow at this point in time because I just don't feel like it fits the way I want to be perceived at this moment. Then, but what you can do is you can like the pictures of your followers. So I think if somebody supports me by following me, I do want to like their pictures. But there's way too many people for me to actually go out there and like them. If I saw it, I would like it, but I don't have the time or the energy. So I set up the bot to go like their pictures. I also think if somebody likes my picture, I should like their picture. So I set up the bot to like pictures of the people that have liked my picture, right? And then there's like a whole bunch of these little things you can do. Like, I think I would want to watch everybody's story. Like I genuinely think most people are posting interesting stuff on their story. And I am watching for half an hour to an hour a day to people's stories, but I cannot watch everybody's. So I just like put the bots to watch people's story. So they're like, oh, stuff, who cares about me? And I do, but I just don't have there's just not enough like space time for me to actually like go through all of it. Right. So I'm adding these little bits of interactions where I would have the intent of doing it in real life, and I'm just automating it so that when somebody comments, I can actually go in depth and answer them. When somebody reaches out to me, I do have the time to actually chat.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that we're going to get a good mix. And I do want to hear from people in the comments of this show. I think some people are going to think that's weird, right? That you're liking things that you're never looking at. And other people, and I think I'm kind of in this camp, think that, okay, well, this is going to help me have real engagements later on by kind of cultivating the right type of audience. So it's this kind of, I think we're going to see mixed reviews about that type of automation. Yeah. And I think that with a lot of this automation, it's that there's an upfront investment in learning the tools and figuring out, what things you want to trigger other things. But then once you have everything kind of running nicely until the entire platform changes and blocks everything, you've invested that time, and now you're building real relationships, but with a lot of support from automated tools. And I developed some video automation stuff, and it was the same way where people were thinking, oh, well, someone thinks an actual video editor made this, so it feels kind of weird or slimy. But I think it really matters what your end goal is. So if you're just trying to, push products and things like that on people, it feels a little worse to me. But if you're trying to build a voice and build real relationships with people, then I think your motivations are a little more pure or at least acceptable.
Yeah, so I have I have something to say about that. So first of all, I really believe very strongly in automating the hello, so you can actually focus on the conversation. So that is my whole goal. So because if you think about it, if you're going to greet 100 people, you're basically going to be saying the same thing to everyone. So what I want to do, but only a certain percentage of those people are going to reply or even going to care about what you have to say or what you want to do. So I don't want to waste my time and saying hello to 100 people that are not going to reply. What I want to, where I want to waste my time is, or what I want to utilize my time is to give attention to those people that are like, you know what? Actually, I do want to have a conversation with you. Actually, I do want to create some sort of relationship with you. And still, there are too many of these people to always go as in depth as I want to. Michaela, she talked about that as well. Like she cannot engage with everybody. Even on my level, it's not possible for me to chat with everybody. But the little time I have, that is where I want to use it to do damage. Where I want to actually, the people that do want to, I want to be able to engage with them. That is how I see it. And also the intent is there.
Right.
I have the intent to build these. I would like these pictures if I saw them. Like yes. I'm not doing anything I wouldn't do.
And if people are interested in what you're doing, what you have to say, you will have real engagement with them later. So it's really trying to avoid this kind of acquisition quicksand where you can never get out of the acquisition phase. And so you're really focusing your personal attention on retention and kind of growing the existing audience versus, which 20% of people are actually going to care what I have to say. So that's the automated part.
Yeah. Exactly. That's 100% right. And I'm also not doing any, like at the moment, like I'm only doing things that they would perceive as positive, right? I'm not sending people random links. I'm not unfollowing people if I don't have to, Like people do like to get likes on their pictures. People do like it when people when their story gets watched. There's really no downside in the spectrum.
Sure. And I'll use 10 or 20 hashtags on my Instagram posts, and I get like 20 likes in the first 30 seconds. So I know those aren't real people that are liking it, but I still like to have that count, right? That makes us feel good about ourselves. And it kind of is a signal to other people that this is content that's worth liking. So I'm kind of in that same boat where I think it could create a lot of win-win kind of interactions, which is really cool. So I don't want to eat up your whole day here, but I think I could. But I want to ask, because you're involved in so many different platforms and so many different things, if you could give us a quick pitch on where people should be following you, I think that would be really helpful to the listeners.
Yeah, so probably where they would so I would prefer people to be in my Facebook group, just because it's like an actual community and I do get the chance to engage with you over time. It's also where I'm a little bit more like jokey and memey and like talk a little bit more about my personal stuff. That is where I prefer people to have it, because I do want it to be a family, and that's why I call it the marketing family. I also named my company after this. But I think if you wanna learn by example, I think probably LinkedIn would be the best place to follow me, because it's a platform, probably the platform I've mastered in the most depth, and also where most of my services actually are. So I would say, please join my Facebook group if you want to learn more about marketing and just like my style of it and my storytelling and whatever. Please join my Facebook group, and otherwise connect with me on LinkedIn, but you do have to send me personalized connection requests, because I get so many people just clicking to connect without anything. Or you could follow me. That's fine too. I don't mind.
Yeah, and put my name in the personalized connection request so that he can say it was worth doing the podcast. Just to get these three connections.
I get the chance to really crystallize my thoughts in talks like this. But also, since I'm here, I might as well plug my Instagram. So look what I do. I create a feed where everything makes sense. And it's like the macro story, like how the big story makes sense, how you make the little pieces make sense of the big pieces. So you have the 3 portraits, you have like blue and green or whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to plug that. So please don't.
That's cool. Yeah, and I'll drop links to everything that I'm aware of in the show notes, so that'll make it easier for people to actually track you down. And as another motivation to join the marketing family, so I'm pretty active in this group, and I think, Staffo, that
you're going to be on my show. That's 100% sure. That's a guarantee.
And we're going to try to
show.
We're going to try to do it so that I'm going to be on the show in one of my classes. So you'll kind of get to see what it's like for me to teach, and the students will be interacting with Staffo. And I think that'll be really cool. So we'll try to make that work out this summer or at the latest next fall.
I'm excited.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you for everything you do, not just in being on the show and offering cool services, but also you've taught me a lot about a space that I was not very familiar with. So I'm appreciative for that too. And
I'm happy to hear.
We will chat again very soon. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.
If you enjoyed listening, please subscribe, rate and review 2Market on iTunes, and visit scottwdavis.com for more information.